Continuing with Revelation chapter 15, now on verse 5. Now this is an interesting chapter because of the fact that it starts off with John seeing a sign in heaven when he sees 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, and in them God's wrath will be fulfilled. Yet then it mentions, right after that, it mentions a group of saints that are standing on the sea of glass that's mingled with fire, and they have their harps and they're singing a song, the song of Moses and of the Lamb. And then they say that thy judgments are made manifest. So God's judgment's about to happen. It's almost like we just see this account of this event happening, and as these angels are about to receive the plagues that they will send to earth, there's this account of this, I believe to be 144,000 just praising God. And so when we continue to verse 5, it says, and after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened. And again, this reminds me of what we saw here in chapter 11 verse 19 at the end of this chapter. And this is after the 7th trumpet had sounded, okay? And it says, and the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. So it was interesting because this event happens. The temple of God was opened in heaven at this moment, and I believe it to be the same event. We're still in the middle of the 7-year Great Tribulation around that time, and yet we read in verse 5 that the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened, which I believe to be the same event, because this is now starting the second 3.5 years of the Great Tribulation. And it says verse 6, and the 7 angels came out of the temple. They were in the temple, and they come out of the temple having the 7 plagues, which are the 7 last plagues. And they're clothed in pure and white linen, and these are angels now, they are holy, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles. And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels, so you see one of the 4 living creatures gives unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials full of the wrath of God. They are full of the wrath of God. So one of the 4 living creatures, one of the 4 beasts, gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials full of the wrath of God, who liveth forever and ever. And here's a picture of some angels having these bowls, so you can get a picture of what's going on here. And you see many saints over here. I believe that's going to be us witnessing this events. Now we continue to verse 8. We read, and the temple was filled with the smoke of the glory of God, and from his power, and no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. So it's as if what has happened to this point is this. At the beginning of the 7-year Great Tribulation was the rapture, and the 2 witnesses and the 144,000 Jews were preaching the gospel. The 2 witnesses were killed at about the middle of the Great Tribulation by the Antichrist. Then they were taken up to heaven as they were resurrected by God. Jesus comes to Mount Zion, takes the 144,000 up to heaven. They had the victory of the beast because they were not killed by the beast, the Antichrist. Okay, and then the temple of God is opened in heaven, and out of the temple comes 7 angels, okay, that have 7, or that are given by the one of the 4 beasts, are given 7 golden bowls or vials full of the wrath of God, who liveth forever and ever. So it's because God is intending to give them to them so they could pour it out upon the earth, upon the inhabitants of the earth who have rejected and hated our loving God. So after this happens, it's like the temple was filled with the smoke of the glory of God. It's almost like if God's saying, hey, this is my anger, this is my wrath, okay, upon that I'm going to pour upon the earth. And no man was able to enter into the temple, as if God is saying, hey, listen, right now it's time for judgment. It's time for God's wrath to be poured out upon the earth. because this is a limited time. No man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. It's almost like, hey, don't bother me. It's time for judgment. It's time for God's wrath to be poured out upon the earth. So this is now becoming the last 3.5 years of the 7-year Great Tribulation, where the Antichrist will rule for a period of time, but then this bowls will be poured out upon this earth and upon the Antichrist and upon his kingdom. And this will happen in Revelation chapter 16, and as we continue in the next video. God bless you. And this ends chapter 15, and we'll continue in chapter 16. And on chapter 16, we're going to see the bowls of wrath being poured out upon the earth and how severe they will be. God bless you.